Anyway, this is for the ones that want to take the time to listen, right? It's written down. If you go to Black Planet, places like that, you'll see that, it's written down somewhere, the history of what my family has had to go through in terms of, nonprofit and landlords. So, okay, so I'm hunting around for a place, and, they're looking at $1,500, $1,300, $1,400 for dumps, basically. Okay, I live in a community where the number one commodity is a monster home that can be broken up into illegal suites. That's the number one economy. Apartments, what happened with apartments is rental control was removed through legislation, and then the companies that run the rental apartments came in and just wiped out a lot of families by putting too many high expectations without even doing proper work themselves or participating or whatever the circumstances were. I'm not saying everybody didn't deserve to get thrown out, but a lot of people didn't, right? And that was their excuse to go in there, to change the carpet, put in this and put on a rail. And hell, when I lived there, they ripped out my windows. Can you imagine that? I have a family working on a non-profit. I'm already stuffing my house full, and they want me to move everything from 4 windows, 3-bedroom windows, 1 living room window, and balcony doors in a 12, 1,500 square foot, and half of that is stored, like in terms of closets. Your floor space is, 12 foot. All we had to walk in was a path. I had to move all that. So inconvenience of the tenant. They got away with it. They ripped out my windows. They replaced everything. My family fought like crazy while my neighbor next door was throwing water on or who knows what, on my door handle. So, I moved from one hot pot to another hot pot. And then, finally I come across this place after looking for a little while. It's not so bad. They did make an effort. They put in new windows for the most part, minus my sliding door here. And they put in hardwood floors, and the piping looked like it was better, and under the circumstances I didn't have too many choices, so I moved in here. Well, we moved in here. I started November 9th. I did probably a third in my car with my son, because my son does help me when it comes to that stuff. He's very strong, so we pack it up and load it in. So about a third of, and mostly books and sewing. I have a lot of books. Makes him strong. He complains, but I tell him later on in life you'll be stronger for it. Trust me. Okay? And get in here. Finally get my family in here. I had, truck come in, and they ended up helping me out with an extra truck because I wanted my rabbit hutch, and they did a really good job. Well, Christmas Eve. Thank God I took my family to some church event for Christmas dinner, because we were in a mound we just moved in. From the trucks. Never mind what I was bringing in my car. And what happens? My kitchen sink starts backing up. Downstairs, the laundry room backing up. Got water everywhere. For like 3-4 days. I phoned her up. I said, what the heck? It's Christmas time. I just moved in. I can't use my sink. None of them. I was washing my damn dishes in the bathtub. Oh, well, it's Christmas and blah, it's winter and blah. Same freaking story that I had when I moved into that fourplex. Okay, so like 4 or 5 days later, finally somebody came and fixed it. And I'll tell you what the problem is. It's simple. Somebody in the past took the laundry and the dishes, with 2 sinks in them, so that's 3 different drains going down one pipe. And from the because I've had problems with this, I just wait for the day when everything's going to back up again, because the plumbers that rotor-root the stuff out, they tell me that it's because you don't mix laundry with dishes, plain and simple. It's just a matter of time. So you try and explain this to somebody that owns the house, that already knows the information but wants to be in denial, and then say, well, it's you because you didn't clean out the trap, or you shouldn't, what? I don't know. So 4 or 5 days my family and I were washing dishes in our bathtub at Christmas time. Thank God I took the kids for dinner for someplace else, because we wouldn't have had a dinner. Not that I could have made a dinner, but it's the principle, right? Principle. That's the thing. We're talking about principle. When a tenant moves in and they're willing to pay $1,550 plus take on full hydros and everything else, at least the landlord can do is make sure that the drains are working properly before you move in, right? And when something does go wrong, you don't wait 4 or 5 days to come by and wander in and, and complain that you can't get through because there's too much stuff around you. Well, yeah, we just moved in. Like, duh. And it's been like that ever since, pretty much. Electrical problems, still electrical problems, there's wiring in here. She knows, like the plugs. When it first came in, yeah, she had somebody come in and, do half of them, but I couldn't get to them all because I had stuff in front of them. I was, still unpacking, whatever, by the time she showed up, right? And even till this day, a year and a half later, this guy that's supposed to come by and do all this stuff, made me walk through it all. And then she tells me, well, she's going to get an electrician to come in and do it. And right now, currently, there are like plugs, like to plug it in, where they're unwired backwards. They're backwards. They're not wired in right because of the way because I have a little tool that can tell you that. I don't know about the light switches because I don't have no tool that can tell me if that's been wired wrong. But I know that there's still plugs in this house that are wired wrong. I get shortages all the time. Like, one turns on this, the next thing you know, half the basement's shorted out, or the whole house, or half of the kitchen and part of the basement. It's pathetic. It's pathetic. But if I get the city to come in, pay my $60, I get an eviction notice. Oh yeah. So what happens? Because she refused, now going back to the fourplex, because she refused to do any repairs properly. I don't know how it came about, but in October, my hydro got cut off from the pole with the fire department, the city, and whoever else was running around out there with their clipboard. And they cut it off at the pole because the landlord was just screwing around so much. So my family had to go for 11 days in October without any heat or hot water. I took the temperature reading inside the suite, right, where we were living. It was 58 degrees. 58, 60 degrees. That's pretty cold. I had 2 elderly. I had vulnerable children. And that's not including what was going on next door. But her hydro got cut off too, right? The tenant next door. And she had children too. So here I am now running around in the neighborhood. Okay? Looking for hot water, at least. In a panic. You'd move too. You'd find out you'd have no choice. So I come here, and it's the same freaking problem with the same attitude. If you don't like it, move out. I heard that before. So do they preach this in their temples? Like, this is, I know it sounds crass, but I'm being candid here. Is this what they preach in their temples? Go back to your tenant and tell them that if they don't like it, they can move. My stuff got ruined at the fourplex on the porch because of rain. The house almost blew up. I almost got electrocuted when I went and found that water spraying into the dryer from a pipe that broke facing the dryer while the wash machine was spinning. Like, what kind of bullshit is that? You wouldn't call the city and say help? Okay. But the city didn't help me. Instead, they got me kicked out. And I'm now living in kind of the same situation with the same kind of attitude. So this leaky pipes and all this crap that's going on in this house, that's not my emotional baggage, because the lady that gave me the hot water first time around, when I told her, she said, oh, you moved, so how's it going? I said, oh, I don't know. I couldn't, Christmas time, I can't wash my dishes. I can't do anything. Can't wash clothes, can't do fuck all, right? And she said, oh, well, that's emotional baggage. That's the sign of there's a lot of emotional baggage. Okay, so I'm now thinking about that. That's what brought me to you here today. So whose emotional baggage is this? Is this mine as a tenant that I move into a second house 2 times in a row, right? Into some sort of emotional baggage where, some Pungabi wants to say, oh, well, yeah, we were stuck out in a boat and you people didn't like us and, and we had to work for $1 an hour and our life was so hard and blah, blah, blah. So it's like sins of the forefather where we're going to make you, the tenant, pay for it. Because that's what it feels like. And if it doesn't feel like that, it feels like you're trying to murder off my family so you can get more of a land grab. How about that? Huh? Because you sure in the hell don't respect my family. Because if you did, as a landlord, you take some honor in what you do. And you don't. You don't. Plain and simple. Okay? And yeah, I give my cards out to your community, and maybe if you hear it this way, you might wake up and smell the freaking coffee or green tea or whatever it is that you drink when you're preaching in your temples to go back and tell your tenant, well, if you don't like it, move. My life means something. I don't know what it means. That dude that I paid to get up there and wash the raccoon shit that was up here and the algae and all the other stuff, I had to pay him. He did a really good job. He couldn't believe, though, what bleach could do. He learned a lesson, too. He said, bleach? I said, yeah, just get the old bottle of bleach out. And he was amazed. That's what the roofer there. So, we got, my son's been up there, my landlord's relative has been up there, the dude off the street's been up there, the roofer's been up there. Wow, this is one hell of a busy roof. Next thing you know, we're going to have a party up there. Okay, I'm going to now turn this off and go sit and have a smoke. And then when I think about something else that I think that is relevant to this, because I'm gonna pump up the jam. Maybe even one day you might even hear some music in the background, because I'm not a quitter. Okay, I've never been a quitter, and I don't about to quit. I'm not about to quit now. Peace out.